Now, in this particular instance, Glenn Maxwell definitely has got it spot on when he describes Indian players as milestone driven. And this is in the context of Indian players and often subcontinental players essentially getting very conscious about the fact that they are approaching a particular milestone. Now, you can see here that Glenn Maxwell essentially, while concluding his comment on the third ODI after they had essentially sealed the series, Glenn Maxwell said that some people are milestone driven, and this was in response to a question whether Matthew Hayden was right in pointing out that the scoring rate of Indian batsmen drop when they are closer to a century. And this was said by Matthew Hayden way back in 2004. And exactly what he'd said is that countries like India suffer from that. What is that? That is essentially the slowing down once you're approaching a particular milestone. And Hayden continued to say that we, that is the Australians, back ourselves against those countries because they'll get two or three players in the 70s and beyond, and they'll be eyeing off that personal landmark, and it will cost their side 40 or 50 runs as a result. Pretty much all the subcontinental sides are like that, and it's very true. It's very, very true. If you look back at, say, Sachin Tendulkar's hundreds, you'll often find that across many of those hundreds, there were times when he would stop and he would not, continue at the same pace in the same manner as he was previously, and then he would slow down. And what happens is that slowing down essentially slows down the overall scoring rate and the overall run that the team manages to make. Like in this case, previously it said that in one day cricket, if you get to 70 or 80, you can obviously get 100 by just batting carefully. But then this very fact that, batting carefully, that ultimately costs you. Because especially now, if you see that whole, dynamics of the game have changed considerably. Now, for instance, in this particular series, you've had India batting first, and each time they've actually scored a lot from 309 to 308 and then to 295. So each time, and in fact, every chase by Australia was a record chase, and yet at the end of the day, they comfortably managed to get home, which shows the fact that the dynamics have changed. There was a time when anything above 250 was considered good. Then gradually you had a period where, say, between 250 and 300 was considered very good, and to the extent that practically unassailable. But that is no longer true. And therefore, in this particular context, Hayden back in 2004 and now Glenn Maxwell in 2016, they've got it absolutely spot on. The fact that subcontinental players chase after personal milestones, which invariably costs the game to the extent that they slow things down and in the pursuit of their personal milestones, while these players go after just getting the job done and ensuring that the team wins. That is what matters. So that's where there's a difference, and that's where teams like Australia end up on the winning side far more often. That's what is to be seen.